One being recorded.
Yep, that's the bit. Oh shit! It did something weird.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, it didn't do anything bad. It just I hit record, and then it started at 2, and it went 2, 3, and then it went back to 1, 2, 3. I'm like, oh, okay.
We just get the first 3 seconds of the show.
I mean, it's like a tradition at this point.
What stupid thing would you like me to say to begin with?
Open your heart and let it take you to wherever you need to be.
Is that stupid or is that incredibly profound?
Well, I mean, I was just saying that to you so you could just do whatever you were going to do.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to say that exact sentence.
I mean, you could if you wanted.
I've already forgotten what it was.
That's fine. Hi, everyone. I'm Corey, and with me is Dylan and Jon. The three of us, with our powers combined, we form the Smark Avengers. If you listened to our first episode and you're currently in Poland, fucking shout us out, because I am so genuinely invested in figuring out, like, how did you find us? What is this that you're interested in? I assume that what we say makes sense to someone from Poland, but maybe it doesn't. And maybe we bring him on, or bring him or her on as a fourth guest.
Yeah, if you're listening to this right now and you're the person from Poland who likes our show, go to YouTube, leave us a comment in either English or Polish.
Yep.
Not important. We'll read it either way and tell us like what you think is fun. It's probably the Japanese Spider-Man that brought you here, right?
I would hope.
You know, I feel like that's Japan uniting the world. Polish people want to hear what British and American people think of Japanese Spider-Man.
But not the Irish. You can disregard everything Dylan said about it.
I am part of the United Kingdom.
But you said British. That doesn't make you...
I did say British. You know what? Cut this bit out. It's a complicated thing.
Well, we did an episode dedicated to Dylan and Jon, who are not DC people, learning about a DC character and determining how they would attempt to kill them. We started with Aquaman, who was a unique sort because, for the most part, Aquaman's been the same kind of character since the 1930s, but they changed his powers a bit. You know, along the way, he found love, had like a pet octopus that helped him fight crime, and had a baby. Baby got killed. Had a baby again in the new continuity. Baby got killed again. Had a hand, got a harpoon, got a water hand, then died, and then came back with his hand intact. So I always felt like a downgrade. In like retrospect, when I was listening to the episode again, I was like, you know what? Maybe he was better off with the water hand. If you died and you got to come back, but you came back as a lesser powered version of yourself, is it worth it?
That retrospective you just did on Aquaman, it reminds me of the story of Jesus.
So Jesus came back, but he was substantially less powerful than he was when he was killed. Is that
Have
what
you guys read the Bible? It's all in there. The octopus that fights crime, the magic hand, dies back to life.
You know, here's the thing. Never read the Bible, so you could very well be telling me the truth, and I would not know.
I am 100% telling you the truth. And by the way, Corey, don't ever read the Bible. Just assume that what I tell you about the Bible is correct, and we will get on perfectly.
Perfect. So in the same spirit of that conversation of learning about a DC character that Jon and Dylan are not familiar with and then determining how they're going to kill them, we're going to go from Aquaman to everyone's favorite Scarlet, Speedster, played by a problematic actor in the movie and kind of a seemingly wholesome person on a TV show. Of course, we're talking about The Flash. Jon and Dylan, what do you know about The Flash?
He is red and he runs real fast.
I mean, I watched the CW show, so I'm sort of familiar with the Flash a little bit, like in terms of his powers and some of his villains and whatnot. So I'm not a novice coming into this.
I have a question for you then, because you watched the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Was that enjoyable? Because I watched the pilot and I went, "Oh, I'm not going to like this," and I never made it past the pilot episode.
Well, I think because I didn't have any preconceived notions. I've never read any Flash comics or anything, so like it was all new to me, and I quite enjoyed it for the most part. I did sort of drop off towards the end and didn't watch it all the way through to the finale, but I mean, I was there for I'd say a good 5 or 6 years or so.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I will tell you that it wasn't that I felt like they weren't honoring the source material properly. It was more of like the breakneck speed at which they were trying to introduce the supporting cast and also hint at the character's comic book origin. Because I just remember they were like, "Oh, Barry, this is Caitlin Snow." And he's like, "Oh, she's kind of frosty." And she's like, "Yeah, you would be too if your husband died." And then she walked away, and I was like, "That was intense for 30 seconds. Holy shit."
You would be frosty too if your husband died.
Yeah, whatever that, or no, you'd be cold too if your husband died, something like that. I was like, ugh. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep, fair.
I'm worried about the writing.
I feel like if your husband died, you would have a couple more emotions.
So what kind of makes this it's gonna be a little different from the Aquaman series, because with the Aquaman show episode, we were looking at Aquaman through the various ages. So we had Bronze Age Aquaman, Silver, Gold, the pre-crisis, the post-crisis, the New 52, the Rebirth. We went through the various different iterations of the same character. For all intents and purposes, was always Arthur Curry. There were some small variations from time to time, but it was still Arthur Curry. The Flash is more in line with what I think of DC, which is sort of the shared mantle. There have been 4 characters who at one point or another have called themselves the Flash to a larger degree. There are other Flashes out there, and we will talk a little bit about that. But for the most part, there have been 4 Flashes. And instead of breaking down the ages, we'll talk about those different versions of the Flash, what may or may not make them different. And much like where you would pick an era of Aquaman you're going to try to kill, you'll pick a Flash that you want to try to kill. Sound good?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, John, you might be familiar. You're going to be familiar with some of these names. So we'll start with the Flash. We'll start with the very first one, maybe not the most famous one. The Flash from the Golden Age, who is Jay Garrick. Jay Garrick was invented in 1940 by Gardner Fox and Harry Lampert. I know, John, you probably have heard of this because that was he was a character who showed up a good bit in the Flash. I think he was actually played by the actor who was the Flash in the 90s show.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you're going to be familiar with Jay Garrick. Dylan, have you ever heard of Jay Garrick?
No.
Okay. So when you think of the Flash, you think of like the all over red suit with the yellow lightning bolt like antennas on the side of the head. Jay Garrick does not wear that. Jay Garrick's original costume was designed kind of like a old-fashioned football player, but with like the metal hat of like Hermes, the messenger of the gods from Greek mythology.
Okay. With the wee wings?
Yeah, with the wings on the hat. If you look up a picture of Jay Garrick, you'll see it. This version of Jay Garrick was a student at Midwestern University in Keystone City, where he had a double major in chemistry and physics. And while he was working on an experiment to purify hard water without residual radiation, the test tube of hard water has accidentally spilled, the fumes knocked him out, and when he woke up after being in a coma for a week, his metabolism had increased and his body rejected nutrients, and he discovered he had been given superhuman speed, and he became the Flash.
You would think that those two things aren't immediately
Connected.
yeah. Like if a guy drops water, like special water in his hand, you're like, oh, this is gonna give me water powers. Nope.
Yeah.
Ability to run fast. I don't even get a magic hand. What's going on here?
So this is 1940 America. The
They could
war.
fuck back then.
Well, we didn't know, so science was still brand new in some regards, and then as well I can think of. But this version of the Flash was a member of the Justice Society of America. He fought in World War II against Nazis, and some of his big villains, Dylan, because I know you like DC villain names, was the
Can I write these
aforementioned.
down?
By all means, go ahead, grab a pen.
All right, guys, try to predict what Corey's about to say. Let's play. Put your crazy DC villain names in the comments. Let's go.
So there was, of course, Gentleman Ghost,
Oh, my favorite.
the Shade,
Okay, that's not that funny.
the Thinker,
Okay.
and the Fiddler.
Oh, oh no. Oh, he got the raw end of the stick.
Yes, he did. So,
Wait. Does he have the power of like a violinist, or does he have the power of like?
Oh God, I hope it's a violinist.
no. So the fiddler is a man who can play the fiddle, and
Oh,
it's
thank
sort of like a
God.
Piper situation.
The other option would not have flown in 1940s.
So this version of Jay Garrick was a member of the Justice Society. He existed on Earth 2, which was the we talked about Earth 2 in a previous episode about how DC had split their continuity between like a world where the heroes got older and retired, and then the world where they didn't. So Jay Garrick was alive and well for a long time, and then he got brought into the larger continuity during an event that was referred to as 0 Hour. He came back into the main continuity. He had all of his speed and stuff. The JSA became a team in the regular DC continuity alongside the Justice League of America. And he kind of operated and did his own thing. And we will talk a little bit about some of his powers. So he originally got his powers through hard water, but Jay eventually got onto a little thing called the Speed Force. And John's familiar with the Speed Force. Dylan, when we talked before we were recording, you less so on what the Speed Force is. So I guess before we go into that, should we discuss what the Speed Force is?
I think that's probably a good option. I mean, you could just pretend. You could just go and like make the whole show where I don't know what the fuck is going on and you and John do. I think that's pretty funny. But if you want to, for the sake of the benefit of like an audience who might not know the Flash.
Okay.
You know?
So the Speed Force, this was created by Mark Waid in the 1994 is the first appearance of the Speed Force. The Speed Force is a cosmic energy field and force based around velocity and movement, and is considered one of the 7 forces of the universe. It is a representation of reality in motion, being the cosmic force that pushes space and time forward. And people who have the ability to have super speed in the DC continuity, almost all of them are referred to as Speed Force conduits, meaning they're able to tap into it and bring it into part of their physiology. So a lot of the 4 characters that we're going to talk about today, all of them have the Speed Force, and you're going to hear a lot of repeat on powers. So Jay Garrick is considered a Speed Force conduit, which means he has accelerated healing, enhanced senses, phasing, so he can pass through physical objects, kind of like Kitty Pryde. He has a Speed Force aura, which allows him to, protects him from basically the adverse effects of speed. Because if you run really, really fast, it should rip all the skin off of your body and like the meat and everything. But because he's a conduit of the Speed Force, that does not impact him. He has superhuman durability because if you get hit and you're going really, really fast, that should absolutely obliterate you. So he has superhuman stamina, superhuman speed, superhuman agility, superhuman reflexes. If it's a thing you can do with your body, add superhuman to the front of it, and he can do it. He also has vortex creations, speed steal, so he can steal momentum from moving objects, superhuman strength, invisibility, decelerated aging. So since he can draw from the Speed Force, he has eternal youth. He looks like an old man.
Can you explain that one again real quick?
Decelerated aging. So because he has the ability to draw from the Speed Force, he can essentially stop the aging process for himself. In DC continuity, as of right now, this is the same man who fought in World War II, but he still looks like he's in his 60s.
Okay. I don't want to give any spoilers about how I was going to kill somebody. That has really put a dampener on one of my possibilities.
Can I tell you something else about the decelerated aging that is going to bring to mind a lot of really uncomfortable questions to ask?
Oh, absolutely. It can't be any more uncomfortable than the whole the fiddler situation.
Well, it might be because the people who can tap into Speed Force, their loved ones also do benefit from decelerated aging. So Jay Garrick's wife has not aged at all either.
Because he did the business with her?
I don't know for a fact, but that seems to be the implication.
Okay.
There was that really uncomfortable Spider-Man Elseworld story.
I was about to bring that up.
Geez.
That was one of my. I actually love that idea because It makes so much sense. He's got radiation in his body. The idea that but what we're talking about,
he gave Mary Jane Watson cancer by
because what we're talking about is a alternate future story where Spider-Man, I don't remember the name of it, but in the future at some point Mary Jane dies, and it's because Spider-Man, Peter Parker and Mary Jane were together. Peter Parker has radioactivity in his blood and is superhuman. Mary Jane did not have any of that, had no protection for that whatsoever. And they were a couple. They did things that couples do, you know. He put the semen inside of her somehow.
Yep.
Somehow I'm not 100% sure.
Somehow it got in there.
That his radioactive semen, it had an adverse effect on her body, and so she got cancer. She died. I'm like, that's the most realistic thing I've ever read in the Spider-Man comic. You know what I mean? That makes so much sense. And then flip over to this guy runs so fast that whenever he comes inside a woman, she lives forever. What? You want to clip this bit for TikTok?
Yeah, well, this will be a TikTok clip, I'm sure. So to get us back on track here, the other abilities that he has is he had Speed Force Empathy, meaning that he can sense when other users of the Speed Force are in trouble.
What the fuck does that even mean?
So think of it like a spider web, right? And
somebody thinks a spider web, be like, oh, somebody over there is in trouble.
Yeah. So like he can sense when one of the other speedsters are in trouble. That's basically what it is. It's like a very personal spider sense in that like he can't sense when everyone's in trouble, but if you can run super fast, he'll know it.
We're only on the first Flash.
Yeah, we got 3 more.
This has gone from man runs really fast to like 100 other different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is insane.
Yes.
This is only the first one.
Dylan, he has one more superpower, and then I'm gonna have to get into another area because of the similarities in powers. We need another category.
He can talk to dogs.
No, dimensional travel. He can run so fast he can break the dimensional barrier and travel to other dimensions.
Is that scientific? Is that possible?
It's the hard water.
Exactly. That's the hard water effect. I feel like if you talk to Grant Morrison, they would back that up.
Did they do this?
Grant talks about traversing into other dimensions a lot, but usually involves him being on psychedelics.
Right, that's right.
So I mentioned that a lot of the Flashes have similar powers. So I think it's important to bring up their abilities that are not granted through the Speed Force and their powers. So maybe like this can give you an edge if you're trying to determine which Flash you want to do a battle with. So not only does Jay have all those fantastic abilities, he is also considered an expert combatant. So he is he's able to fist fight people very, very well. He's also a master swordsman.
Okay.
He is pinpoint accuracy with throwing, because he will throw his winged helmet like Captain America does his shield.
So he's Wolverine. He's Quicksilver. He's Bullseye.
Yeah.
What are the other ones? He's got Spider-Man sperm. What else?
I mean, he's got a lot going on. He can run really fast without it ripping all of the meat off of his body.
He can. What superhero can travel through dimensions?
I mean, there's a couple who can, like Doctor Strange can.
Okay, so he's Doctor Strange as well.
So
the guy who runs fast suddenly has the powers of like 5.
The guy who can run fast and has been doing it since the World War II.
Well, I guess you get bored. You're like, I gotta do something else. Maybe I could just travel through time. Maybe I could just go to Dimension X. I don't know. You know.
Jay Garrick is also an expert in the fields of chemistry and physics, and he is also very good with mechanical engineering and creating gadgets. Also, he also knows how to run a business.
See, that shit makes sense, right? If you've been around since World War II, you would pick up fencing. You would learn how to fix a car, right? Yep. I totally get that. That makes sense. But you wouldn't be like, I wonder if I can go to a different dimension.
So he has his own specialized equipment. Like I said, he's the one Flash that does not look or dress like the others. He has his helmet, which we've spoken of a few times now. And here's my favorite thing, Dylan, that I think you would appreciate. Early in his career as the Flash, Jay Garrick briefly carried an over foot-long yellow metal rod in the shape of a jagged lightning bolt, which he would toss across a room either to announce his presence or to disarm an adversary.
I love the idea of him just like speeding into a room as if like the sudden draft didn't give it away. Like, why did that door suddenly open? But no. Here's a big fucking lightning bolt in the middle of it. It's me, the Flash. You know, like, how much more extravagant does this fucking guy have to be? Is he the king?
I mean, Jay Garrick is considered one of the OG founding fathers of the Justice Society, along with the Green Lantern Alan Scott. When we do a Green Lantern episode on this, that's another wild one when we get into some of his stuff. I will say the 1940s gave birth to a lot of things, but a lot of those powers that I mentioned were stuff given to him later on. It's kind of like the Archangel thing we talked about in a previous episode, where they just started giving him more powers. Because originally he was just like, run really fast. I can create a tornado by like running in a circle or like moving my hands. The lightning rod, though, just picking up, throwing a piece of metal across the room to let people know you're on your way.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That one was all him,
Necessary.
baby. We will move on from Jay Garrick, and we will to the second Flash, that arguably some people would say is the more famous Flash. This is Barry Allen. So Barry is he's our gentleman friend who was the first in the all over red suit with the yellow little rods in the ears and the yellow boots, the lightning bolt symbol across his chest. Jay Garrick got his ability from hard water dropping and breaking, right? So how do you think Barry Allen got his powers?
Oh, the first Flash had sex with him. And his semen went inside the other Flash, and they give him the Flash powers.
This is our most lurid episode to date.
Surprised it took us this long.
I'm surprised it was the Flash episode that caused this, to be frank.
He's called the Flash.
So, on the night of a storm, while Barry Allen was in his scientific lab, because he is a forensic scientist for the police, a bolt of lightning crashed through the lab's window and struck him in the chest, causing him to drop chemical vials he was carrying and doused himself. So this combination of chemicals and lightning gave him his fantastic abilities.
Again, chemicals and lightning, you're like, equal speed? Technically, chemicals and lightning probably do equal speed, like the drug speed.
I mean, it makes more sense than the hard water anyway.
It does. That is true.
By the way, I did pull up a separate thing. This Barry Allen showed up in a comic called Showcase number 4 in 1956. He was created by Carmine Infantino and Robert Kaniger. So there's that. So this is the Flash that joined started the Justice League. He was the Silver Age Flash, so a lot of his comics were kind of weird science fiction, a lot of aliens and such. And like I said, he's considered one of the more iconic characters. But what kind of made him kind of special and kind of interesting, his comics would have a section called Flashbacks. And in those comics, the writers would put like real like science tidbits so the readers would learn a little something, because at that point comics were still kind of primarily for kids. So, it was weirdly educational in a sense. And Grant Morrison wrote about that in their book Super Gods. Another thing they brought up in that was Grant. I think Grant credited Barry Allen's Flash from the Silver Age for being the first comic to break the fourth wall, because of a cover of the Flash looking out of the comic cover and like pleading with the reader, like treating the reader as a character. So that kind of, if you know anything about like Grant's writing style and the stuff they like to do, you could see that was a very influential moment for them.
What did he say? Like the Flash is looking towards the reader. what did he say on the cover? Like, hey guys, buy my book. Like, what?
So this is the Flash comic itself. It is from, I think it's issue number 167, perhaps. The number is coming across a little tiny to me. And it says, "Stop, don't pass up this issue. My life depends on it."
Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it?
So Barry Allen was the main Flash up until a little thing called Crisis on Infinite Earths. Anytime we talk about any DC comic, Crisis is going to get brought up because it was such a monumental thing that they did. So in the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline, Barry Allen foils the Anti-Monitor's plan to destroy Earth with an antimatter cannon by creating a Speed Force vortex to draw all the power in, but he died in the process because the Speed Force absorbed his body. So Barry Allen was one of the main deaths in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And Barry was dead for a while. He did not come back until... So, yeah, 23 years after Barry died on Crisis on Infinite Earths number 8, he came back in Final Crisis, which came out in 2008. So he was dead for a long time, which we talked about in our episode with Robbins with Jason Todd about how there was a period of time where comic book deaths would stick for a substantial period. He came back, they gave him a big series called The Flash Rebirth. He became a big, he was the main character in Flashpoint and Blackest Night and the New 52. He was the main Flash in that book. So when the New 52 launched, none of these other Flashes were around. It was just Barry. And as of right now, the character is currently coming back. He took a little momentary retirement in the regular main continuity. Would you like to know what Barry's powers are?
Same as the other guy.
Not too far from the truth. He is a Speed Force conduit. He has superhuman speed, reflexes, stamina, agility, strength, Speed Force aura, which, that's the thing that keeps him from getting torn apart by the G-force of running that fast. Durability, accelerated healing. He has aerokinesis.
What's that?
He can move his arms really fast and create tornadoes. He can travel into different dimensions like Jay Garrick. He has electrokinesis, where he can manipulate electrical energy that he pulls from the Speed Force. And that can come out as like energy blasts, electromagnetism. He can transform that energy into other areas. Photokinesis. He can absorb the Speed Force. And
photokinesis is absorbing the Speed Force?
Well, no, he has the ability to generate light through Speed Force lightning.
Okay.
But he can absorb the Speed Force and drain it from other speedsters if he needs to.
Okay.
And he can also...
No, you know what? Finish this, and then I'll ask that question, okay?
Okay. He can also block or cut people off from the Speed Force. So do you want to ask your questions before I go into the other powers he has? Because he has a lot.
I don't know if Jonathan has questions. I have one question, which came up whenever you said that last part. That he can absorb the Speed Force and he can block the Speed Force.
Yes.
Where exactly does the Speed Force come from? So you said it was kind of like an element like in the nature, in the wild, like one of the... But like, does that mean it's just everywhere all the time?
Yes. It's kind of like how the Force is described.
So if you say you can absorb Speed Force and it's everywhere all the time, he can just always be powerful?
Well, so the problem with that is it kind of is what happened to him in Crisis on Infinite Earths. He put too much of himself into the Speed Force and the Speed Force absorbed him. So Barry Allen
he can
died.
Absorb the Speed Force.
Yes, but he can overload his body because he still has a mortal body. Like there is a limit to how much he can do.
Okay, but then if he absorbed so much Speed Force, wouldn't he like turn into Speed Force?
Yeah, that's what happened.
But that's not really dying, though, is it? Like that's moving on to like a different plane of existence.
Yeah, he basically moved into a different kind of...
Does that mean that somebody else can absorb him?
Yeah. because he's part of the Speed Force at that point.
Yeah, so the other Flashes could absorb him into their Speed Force.
Yes.
And then whenever they see him into their girlfriends, it's really him. It was a long build-up.
Well, was that a euphemism?
Hey, man. Not with the Speed Force.
Nope.
No long build-up with the Speed Force. Wham. One and done, baby. In and out.
Yeah, a couple of times, very quickly, too. I am so surprised at the direction this episode has taken.
Which of our previous episodes did you think would have got looter than this? You know?
I feel like Weird Powers had potentials, because I feel like you could have talked about, like, Stacy X or something from X-Men. I don't know. But anyway, so Barry has all of the regular Speed Force powers that Jay Garrick has, but Barry also has enhanced mental processes. He has a speed mind. He has the ability, so basically he can think very, very fast.
I love how you call it a speed mind.
Yes. Yes. He also has enhanced senses, a cosmic awareness, so he can sense disturbances in time and space because of his connection to the Speed Force. I'm going to read this to you, Dylan, and it's going to make you stop whatever you're saying, because just the sentence is wild.
Okay.
He has enhanced vision. Barry is able to vibrate his eyes on different frequencies in order to see different wavelengths of light, essentially seeing things that would be invisible to most people.
Can I just say that I don't think the ability to see different, like, infrared and stuff like this, I'm no scientist, but I don't believe that is caused by breathing your eyes really quickly. If there's a scientist, Mr. Poland, if you're listening to this and you're a scientist, please tell me if I'm correct or not about the ability to vibrate your eyes fast enough to see other planes of existence.
Dylan, we are 44 minutes into recording, and we're not even finished with the second Flash. This is either going to be a very long episode or it's a two-parter. I don't know which.
I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of stuff to cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not done yet, because Barry also has Speed Force empathy. He can read emotions of other people who can access the Speed Force.
Why?
He also has Speed Force visions, where he can get glimpses into the future due to his connection with the Speed Force.
I was trying to write a lot of these powers down. I have to stop. I'm running out of room.
Yeah, I'm not done yet. He has molecular acceleration. He can vibrate his own molecular structure at varying degrees for a number of purposes. When vibrating at a high enough frequency, he can cause things to explode on contact.
What?
When possessed by a ghost, Barry was able to adjust his frequency in order to trap the spirit in his body while staying in control of himself. So he has the ability to phase in through material objects. He can make himself intangible. He can make himself invisible. He has thermokinesis, meaning that he can vibrate enough to generate heat to thaw people out of ice.
What are we doing?
I'm not done. Dylan, I'm not done.
Oh
what do you mean you're not done? I've written like 7 paragraphs about this guy already.
He has retrocognition. He can remember certain events that have been erased from his mind.
What? Huh? But they've been erased from his mind.
He can remember them.
Huh? But that's called memory.
He can make, it sounds like he can make his mind go back in time from before it was erased and remember it.
How? How does being fast give you the ability to do this?
This may not be an episode where we kill the Flash and we just talk about how overpowered he is.
Corey, we have talked about some real bullshit in this show, right? We've talked about magic hands. We've talked about Armless Tiger Man. We've talked about like a lot of like crazy ass shit. I think the idea that you can vibrate your brain enough to go back and remember memories you've already forgotten might be the stupidest fucking thing we've ever said on this show. And that
Dylan, I am
all the stuff about putting semen in a woman that we already said a moment ago.
Dylan, I'm still not done.
Stop it. We
yeah,
we have to get off this.
He can share the Speed Force with other people, meaning he can lend it to like somebody who doesn't normally access it. He can steal the Speed
Somebody else
Force
be
from
the
other
Flash?
people.
He can make somebody else a Flash.
He can for a temporary amount of time, he can lend it to somebody.
Right.
He can speed up time,
Uh-huh.
and he can time travel. Do you want to go into his list of abilities that he has that are not related to the Speed Force?
What else? He's a great gardener. Like, what are we talking about?
So here, I'll go real quick. Acrobatics, chemistry, computer operation, criminology. I feel like this. Do you ever see like in the UK, were there ever commercials for like community college that would say you can attend this and get an associate's degree in, and then they lead off a bunch of like, yeah, that's what this sounds like so far.
Mm-hmm.
He's a master of disguise, firearms, forensic pathology, meditation. He has a genius level intellect. He's an advanced hand-to-hand combatant. He has indomitable will. He is a master investigator. He knows mechanical engineering. He knows how to be stealthy. He's a natural leader. He has a lot of knowledge on weaponry and swordsmanship. And my favorite, swimming.
Aquaman doesn't even get that. Turns out the Flash is better at swimming than he is.
It says Barry is a very good swimmer and has been able to race Aquaman to a draw. So you're correct.
For fuck's sake. Dude, what is it? What are we doing? This is ridiculous. You gotta admit, dude, this is silly.
Yeah, it
He can run fast.
Can I tell you the worst thing? There is a list of the fastest speedsters in DC. Spoiler, he's not even the fastest. We're going to move to the third Flash. And this one is Wally West. So Wally West was the Flash. He was the former Kid Flash. So he was the kid sidekick of Barry Allen. And when Barry died in Crisis on Infinite Earths, Wally basically graduated and became the Flash. So in a lot of ways, he's been the most successful former kid sidekick. Like Dick Grayson was Batman for a little while. You know, Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy never replaced him. Aquaman's sidekick Aqualad never replaced him. Donna Troy never really replaced Wonder Woman. Wally West is the only one who actually did it and got the job done. Do you know how he got his powers?
I don't want to say semen, but
Because he's a child. Because he was underage.
Space semen? An alien did it, so it's legal? What are we talking here?
So Wally was struck by a bolt of lightning and doused in chemicals just like Barry Allen. Who would have thought it? Like lightning in a bottle. It happened again.
What are the chances?
What are the chances?
Does this mean he has the same powers?
We'll see.
Oh, no!
So Wally West was the Flash from that point on. In a lot of ways, I view him as the iconic Flash. He was the Flash that was in the animated Justice League cartoon. He was the Flash when I started reading comics. So even though they put Barry in the movies since, when they started making movies again, Wally is, to me, that person. When Barry Allen came back, he and Wally shared the mantle of the Flash for a while. And then when the New 52 and Flashpoint happened, Wally got erased from existence. He just stopped being around.
Couldn't he use his Flash powers to not be erased from existence?
Hey, guess what happened in Rebirth, Dylan? Wally emerged from the Speed Force. He had been trapped in the Speed Force, and he popped into the new continuity with the help of Barry Allen.
Like he was being born.
Kinda. He emerged from the Speed Force. He was given tangible form once more.
Speed semen.
So Wally was in Rebirth, and he was in a world that was very different from his own, because in the pre-Flashpoint continuity, Wally was one of the few superheroes that like managed to have a life. He had a wife, he had kids, and like being the Flash is honestly like one of the happier gigs you can have in superhero business. Like, even though bad stuff happened, Wally still had a loving wife and kids that like knew he was in the Flash. And I think his kids started to show powers too, for example. And like everything was always chill with Wally. But when he came back into the continuity, he came into a world where his wife was a stranger to him and his kids had never been born, and he had memories of all of that. So Wally had mental health issues because of this, and that culminated in a series written by Tom King called Heroes in Crisis, which had a very problematic view of mental health, in which Wally, in the midst of a mental breakdown, inadvertently killed a bunch of people.
Whoa. I'm going to stop you there. The use of the word inadvertently. He accidentally killed people?
It was a discharge of Dr. Manhattan's powers mixed with the Speed Force.
I'm sure it was a discharge. Those
Yeah.
Flash boys, when they discharge, will kill a lot of people.
Yeah, so Wally got arrested and he was away for a while, and then he redeemed himself in some manner, and it got really messy until somebody just said, all right, Barry Allen's going to step away from being the Flash for a while, and we're going to make Wally the Flash again. And in a move called Infinite Frontier, the Flash comic book went to Wally West, and it was a really, really good run. It also featured a weird space professional wrestling issue that was really odd and fun. But no, but there was a Omega Bam Man was the name of the space professional wrestler, and he had a lot of Macho Man Randy Savage's vibes. Like, look up the Omega Bam Man, and I think you would be entertained.
Bam Man?
Bam, B-A-M. Omega Bam Man.
Oh, he looks a bit like Hogan.
He does look like Hogan, to be fair. I love how he's called a Mega Bam Man. You say he has Randy Savage traits. He looks like Hulk Hogan. And has fuck all to do with Kenny Omega.
Yep.
I actually love that.
Yeah. So as of right now,
smart part of the show coming in.
Yeah, finally, huh? So we as of right now, Wally is a member of the Titans. In DC continuity, the Justice League has been disbanded, and the Titans are the premier team. So it is basically him and his childhood friends from the Teen Titans, now adults, being the main group. Let's get into his powers. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go quick because they're gonna be a lot of overlap.
Oh, take your time.
He's a Speed Force conduit. He has superhuman speed, superhuman reflexes.
Can you tell us what powers? Like you said, a lot of these powers overlap, right?
Sure.
So can you just tell us what powers that he has that are different from the other two Flash?
He is energy resistant. So most energy attacks like electricity, he's able to withstand it without taking any damage. He's also immune to toxins, so he can't be poisoned or drugged.
How?
His body processes things so quickly that he can just phase it out of his body. Kind of like, you know how like Wolverine can like repair damage as quickly as it comes. That's why he like is such a heavy drinker and smoker. It's kind of like that. He just passes it through his system very quickly.
Why don't the others have that?
Wally is special. Remember I told you that of all of the speedsters, Wally's the fastest. So his connection to the Speed Force is a lot stronger than other people's. So a lot of his powers are very, very similar to the Flash Barry Allen, except for those. These are his abilities: acrobatics, computer operation, genius level intellect, advanced hand-to-hand combat, including boxing and professional wrestling, where he is one half of the wrestling across the multiverse tag team champions with the Omega Bam Man.
Hey, damn.
He has an indomitable will, master of interrogation, investigation, mechanical aptitude. He knows his physics, tactical analysis, stealth, throwing, and weaponry. He's capable with a glaive, for example. Yeah. Let's get into the very last main person to ever hold the title of the Flash, and maybe the weirder of them, Bart Allen. Bart is the grandson of Barry Allen from the future. He ended up in the present day and took on the mantle of Impulse, and then later on became Kid Flash. And Bart is kind of just a goofy kid. He's incredibly smart, but he also is very hyper, and he has a very, very short attention span. He was kind of more comedic of the characters in that sense, that people would forget how smart Bart was because of how kind of quirky he was at the same time. So there was a period of time where his age was accelerated up, and he took on the mantle of the Flash, and he was killed he was tricked by his clone from the future named Inertia into being killed by the rogues. So he ended up coming back to the past as his young self again, undoing his death. And Legion of Superheroes.
That is not an explanation.
A lightning rod with the assistance of different versions of the future Flashes restored Bart to life, and he returned as a teenager.
What? Hang on, wait. Like, I don't understand. Like, so somebody died, right?
Yes.
So they're dead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Their body is dead.
Yes.
Not breathing. There's no spirit. The spirit's away to limbo.
Yes.
Can't say for sure if it's heaven or hell. We don't know. Let's just say limbo.
Yes.
In the middle.
But
Has
then,
been dead for an indeterminate amount of time.
yeah.
It's not immediate, right?
But then his younger self somehow knows he dies in the future and comes back to stop himself from dying.
Yes. What?
Well, no, he doesn't stop himself from dying, because time is a thing. I guess
he does die.
He does die. He gets resurrected by a lightning bolt, powered by other versions of other Flashes.
But so the lightning bolt hits his body.
Yes.
The lightning bolt that is being powered by other Flashes hits the bot, and again, the body has been there for an indeterminate amount of time, or is it like instantaneous? Like, does he die and then the Flashes are like, we gotta save this guy, and then bam, or do they just like bring him back to life at some point?
Yeah. Dylan, we have got so much ground to cover. I don't know if we can really get into
Why
it.
is there so much? We haven't even talked about killing him.
Yeah, I was thinking this was going to be a simpler one than going through the ages of Aquaman, and boy.
This is so complicated. We might have to cut this into two, because holy shit, dude.
All right, so yeah, time check. Where are we sitting at? No, we've already been an hour. Okay, we might speed. This might be speed round to keep with the name. So Bart's powers, almost the exact same as everybody else's, save for one thing. Speed Scouts.
What the fuck?
Bart has the ability to create scouts, which are energy-like avatars of himself, which he can send through the time stream, then absorb their memories when they return.
Oh, like Multiple Man.
Like Multiple Man, except through time instead of like place.
Oh, I mean, okay. Do you know what I love about this episode is that when it started, both me and John were full of energy. We're like, we're ready to talk about how to kill the Flash. And as this has gone on, we are just like flabbergasted. We don't even have the energy to talk about this. We wish we had Flash semen in our bodies to be able to talk about it. Because we are just like, we have no idea what the fuck's going on. We're exhausted. We don't know what the fuck is going on. How can anybody follow this?
Here's the thing about it. It's kind of like, remember when we were going through all the powers that Angel had, and we're like, oh my god, what is all of this? People will create a new power when they need one, and they will forget all the ones they don't need. That is really what it comes down to. So, all right.
But they're taking the piss with the Flash, though. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you could have used somebody else for this. Right? A lot of this shit is like, the Flash. What was the fucking memory one? Like, come on, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So these are his abilities. He has Bart has a photographic memory. He's multilingual.
What?
He is. Yep.
Hi. He went back in time. He ran so fast he could learn all the languages.
Remember. Well, I remember the Speed Scouts. He sends them through time, and he can learn from memorizing them. So he sent He sent a Speed Scout back to the 7th grade, where he took Intro to Spanish, brought it back and absorbed it.
So you're telling me
Although
that this man he knows everything that could ever be known because he sent all of his speed scouts into the future to learn all knowledge and then brought them back into himself.
Can I tell you what the language is that he's multilingual in?
I hope it's Polish.
Unfortunately, it is a language called Interlac. It's a communication language of the 30th century's United Planets.
He didn't learn any of the other ones that we use right now.
He's from the 30th
What's
century,
wrong with
so.
him?
All right.
It'll be useful in 3,000 years.
He is an advanced hand-to-hand combatant specializing in judo, firearms, weaponry, and pressure points. He is very smart with criminology. He's a master of hypnosis, and he has a mechanical aptitude.
Why is he a master of hypnosis?
Can I also tell you that he has
Did
an
I just
artificial?
make this shit up?
Can I tell you he has an artificial kneecap?
Well, running would put a strain on your knees. Right?
Yep. So, gentlemen,
Wait. Is the artificial kneecap magic in any way?
it was put in by Jericho, who was possessing Deathstroke. So no, probably not.
Not Chris Jericho.
No, I don't know if that would work. That's a different Jericho.
I mean, Chris Jericho would always try to crowbar his way into storylines. So
yeah, he saw this like young character and he's like, I
Yeah.
can siphon the heat off of that.
this guy has all the powers. Me too. I want that.
Yep.
Give me the speedsters.
I'll be
Put your
the pain
semen in me.
meter. Put your semen in me. Put your semen in me.
Maybe cut this bit out.
Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, put that on TikTok.
Yeah, we'll put that in there. So I'm going to leave this up to you guys. Do you want to go ahead and start talking about how you want to kill the Flash? Or do you want to learn some of the other Flash speed users?
I don't even know where I am. I don't know what the fuck's going on. John, what do you think?
I really want to kill this guy after all this
Fuck
now.
Yeah, fuck this.
All four of these guys.
Fuck him. We're gonna kill him.
All right. So, gentlemen, who would like to go first and detail how they're going to kill the Flash?
Well, okay, so I'd come up with like a couple of different bullet points, right? So I have like 4 or 5 different ideas. John, what did you have? Did you have like a couple of ideas or like one big idea?
I had a couple of sort of starter ideas that didn't really go anywhere, and then one big idea.
Well, then, do you want to go back and forth with some of these starter ideas?
Not really. Mine don't have much going on with them, to be honest.
Well, okay. Let's do this. Why don't you do your couple of quick starter ideas and then your big idea, and then I'll do my ones. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I figured, taking inspiration from sort of Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, maybe just set up a pretty standard trap for him. Like, get some piano wire or something, stretch it across a couple of trees, and you just gotta convince him to, run at you. And then, but I figured, maybe he's got super speed eyes or whatever, and it turns out he does. So, he could probably see the piano wire coming and duck underneath it. So I figured, well, why not squirt some soapy water in his eyes before?
Please don't use the word squirt after we've been talking about semen.
Well, this is the thing. I was going to say, well, maybe squirt some spunk in his eyes. Who knows?
Hey, so long as it's not Flash semen, he'll be all right.
Yeah, but he will be slightly blinded. That's the point. And then he wouldn't see the piano wire, and then wham, decapitated.
You know what? That's not far away from one of the ideas I had.
That's because it's the way to go.
Right. You look at what history has already dictated for like people who run fast, and you work towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else have you got?
The other one was really piss poor. It was shoot Booster Gold in the head, steal his time travel buddy, and then go back to the night before the Flash got his powers. And
John, you've done so much so wrong already.
I
You said the word. You said the word shoot, and then you said Booster Gold's time travel buddy, which is a robot named Skeets.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
right?
you go.
Why is that wrong? That seemed to make sense to me.
Are you familiar with the slang, the word skeet?
Evidently not.
No.
No,
Did they
evidently
claim it?
not. It is ejaculating, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Oh
man.
This is the worst episode we've ever done.
We're
This-
drenched in jizz.
I don't know. I don't know if this comes out.
Yeah, this is a weird one. If you hear this, you're lucky. If you hear this, I'm so sorry to the person in Poland. I'm so sorry.
So yeah, look, do yourself a favor, guys. Listen to the song "Get Low" by Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, which was a very popular song when I was in high school, and you will understand Skeet.
Also, if you want to, listen to any other song and it'll be way better. All right, John, what was your was that your big plan?
No.
Time travel.
No. My big plan was to like take an inspiration from the fact that the rogues, the Flash's like main villains, like start my own team of supervillains. So I figured I'd go with Eobard Thorn first, the Reverse Flash, who's basically
Yeah, Dylan, are you familiar with who the Reverse Flash is?
Obviously not.
well,
All right, John, go ahead.
he's actually faster than the Flash apparently, and he, instead of using the Speed Force, he uses the negative Speed Force, which apparently eats away at the regular Speed Force like cancer. So I figured, well, that's a pretty good handy tool to have on our side. And one of his other powers is apparently, like the Flash himself, he can travel through dimensions. So I figured, yeah, let's take advantage of this. We'll send him to the Marvel universe. And then once he's there, we'll have him recruit the next member of my supervillain team, Paste Pot Pete, aka the Trapster.
Trapster.
And not just Pasteball Pete as well. I was gonna grab a member of Thanos's Black Order called Corvus Glaive, who has a bladed weapon which is so sharp that it can cut through virtually anything, even atoms, which will be coming in handy in a bit. But yeah, we'll grab those guys, come back to the DC universe, and then bust out a guy from jail called the Turtle Man, who apparently.
Wait. What universe is this one from?
We're back in the DC universe.
We're back in DC. So the turtle. Okay.
Yes.
The Turtle Man.
Yeah. Apparently, well, there was the turtle and then the Turtle Man. There's two separate characters. The one was like a Silver Age character who was an old man and pretty useless, and then the Turtle Man was like the newer version of him, who eventually apparently teamed up with the old version until he got fed up of the old guy sort of stealing all of his inventions and taking all the credit for his bad deeds and stuff. But anyway, yes, the Turtle Man.
What were his powers? Could he go through dimensions?
No, he learned how to steal other objects' kinetic energy to basically make it appear as if time had stopped.
Just like a turtle.
Yeah, exactly, just like a turtle.
Yeah.
So yes, and I figured maybe I don't know, grab like Captain Cold as well, just because why not?
Because you need to get him.
Yeah, he should be there. Yeah, so the plan is to use the Reverse Flash's negative speed force and the turtle's ability to absorb kinetic energy to sort of drain the Flash of his own speed force, or at least cut him off from his connection to it. And then, yeah, when he's sort of weakened, Like maybe he's still got some small slither of it, but he's going to be way slowed down from his top speed. That's where it's Paste Pot Pete's time to shine, and he's gonna. I figure maybe join forces with Captain Cold, and they can work their cold and sticky stuff together.
Oh no!
Cold and sticky.
Oh no!
And then
This has gone off the rails.
It went off the rails an hour ago.
Yeah, and then once the Flash is trying to run after Reverse Flash or whatever, or punch the turtle, they can stick him in place with their cold, sticky stuff.
We know what that stuff is, John.
Yeah.
Oh no!
And then
no!
in his weakened state, that's where Corvus Glaive comes in with his special blade that can slice through atoms to try and beat the Flash's phasing ability. But he's already in this weakened state anyway, so it's got to be game over as Corvus Glaive just chops his head off, and that's it, game over, buddy.
A lot of that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think so. I think a lot of that totally added up. Like, I like the use of the Trapster as well. Like, he's an underutilized villain. I love the Trapster. I think it's a really good idea.
And the Flash wouldn't be expecting him as well because he's from a completely different dimension.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know what Corey's going to say, but I thought that was a really good one.
You know how you were saying like you were kind of broken after like listening to all that? I'm kind of broken after saying all that. So I will tell you this. There was a lot of thought and there was a lot of effort put into that, and I'm going to commend you for it. Also, props for bringing in the rogues. I was like really worried, like we're going to spend so much time talking about all the weird ass, overpowered stuff going on with them. I won't even get to tell you guys about the rogues, which are some of my favorite characters. So because you added Paste Pot Pete to the rogues, you're in. I like it.
Yes.
All right, Dylan, what do you got for us?
Okay. Well. So one of the so let me clarify something I mentioned earlier. One of the ideas I had written down was that the Flash essentially kills himself because he moves so much quicker than everybody else that he therefore ages much quicker than everybody else. Therefore, all I have to do is nothing, and he will kill himself eventually. But apparently, they already thought of that and said that doesn't count. He ages differently, whatever. So scratch that. Along the lines that John was talking about, though, he went down the road of the Roadrunner and the Wile E. Coyote kind of deal. Somebody runs really fast. The other guy's like, how do I stop this guy? It makes sense. I understand that. So in that idea, how best to destroy Speedster, one must study the greats in order to solve that mystery. And so I would, in my thesis, I would like to talk about how beating the Flash is akin to beating Sonic the Hedgehog. Two speedsters, two blue blurs. I assume the Flash is blue. Therefore, the following thesis will be drawing heavily from my major reference point, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, originally released in 1991, which was a seminal piece of technology. It blew everybody away. Dr. Robotnik, of course, was like, how do I defeat the fastest thing alive? I know. A robot that looks like a monkey. This will do it. How he keeps coming after me somehow. How do I defeat him? I know. I will get inside a giant robot that looks exactly like me. That's the only way to beat Sonic the Hedgehog, according to Dr. Robotnik. Or Dr. Eggman, if you're in Japan. It's tricky, right? So that was one idea I had. Okay? Robots.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think the Flash would have thought of that. He's got all this other fucking bullshit-ass powers, right? He can sense time or whatever. He's not going to expect robots, is he? What does he do against robots? I'm asking. I'm legitimately asking.
I mean, Dylan, he has fought robots before. That has been a thing.
What a monkey robot that throw coconuts at him?
I mean, he's fought monkeys before because I mean, you gotta.
Real monkeys?
John?
Robot monkeys.
Well, John, do you want to tell him about Grodd?
Yeah, there's like a bad guy called Gorilla Grodd. Who's
It's
a
one
Is
of
he a
the
robot
Flash's-
monkey?
Yeah.
No, he's this incredibly psychic, like telekinetic monkey, and like
Does
a
the
genius
monkey throw coconuts at him?
No, I think he can throw cars.
Right, but not coconuts.
I mean, you're bringing up an excellent point.
What about a little crab robot? Has he ever fought a crab robot?
A crab robot. I don't even know if he's
Sounds
fought
like
a
I'm on the right
crab.
track, to be honest with you. I'm hearing a lot of like, not a whole, there's not a whole lot of opposition to crab robot right here.
I mean, if you're going, I mean, the Sonic the Hedgehog template is pretty valid because there was a period of time where Wally was wearing blue, and he
Okay,
was a blue
great.
speedster.
Right, so they're both blue speedsters, and then how do you defeat a blue speedster? Be a scientist.
I was gonna say underwater levels.
Well, that's true. Oh, I should have said that. Okay, edited this to make it seem like I said underwater levels. Okay, ready? Here's the cut. Underwater levels. Right? So you can just cut that bit out.
I will cut that bit out.
I'm sure you will.
Absolutely.
So that was basically that idea was the old Dr. Robotnik style. I had another one which was just like heavily dose him in radiation. Funny enough, we talked about that with the Spider-Man semen deal, which started this whole thing off, to be honest. But like,
if you look down and you look for the line that was crossed, it's all the way back there with
it was way back in Spider-Man semen.
Sports semen.
But I'm like, if he dose him like heavily in radiation, he's gonna get sick, right?
Yeah.
He's probably just gonna die. So I'm like, we'll do that. That'll be fine.
Again, which version of the Flash are we talking about?
The one that's susceptible to radiation. I didn't expect all of this fucking shit, right? I'll be honest with you. I thought it was just like put a wall in front of him and he runs into it. You know, like like Wile E. Coyote. There's so much more to this than I didn't expect. So here's my other one, right? Here's my last one. Okay. Oh no, I have two more. They're really quick. So one of them was.
All right, let's hear it.
One of them was tie rocks to his feet and then throw him off the side of a boat. Now I realize he's probably too quick to be able to tie the rocks around his feet. But if he's on a boat, he's only got a finite amount of space to go. He only run around the boat for so long before he just like has to stop running. So I'll just find a way to tie the rocks around his feet and then throw him off the boat. But here's my I'm glad that one gonna get reception. But here's my favorite one. All right. So we're by now we're all like pretty knowledgeable about the Flash, right?
Yes, more than you would think.
I would say we know the Flash literally inside and out. Yeah, we're pretty familiar with this man, intimately so.
Intimately, yes.
Intimately so. So we all know what does the Flash love so much that he can't resist?
What?
Cadbury's cream eggs.
Just in time for Easter.
Right? Cadbury's cream eggs. So what I would do, this is a simple trap, right? I'm surprised nobody came up with this. Simple stuff. This is me thinking like Dr. Robotnik here. What do I do? Cadbury's cream eggs, put them inside a big factory. The Flash speeds over really quick. He uses his Flash senses to sense that there's a big collection of Cadbury cream eggs somewhere. He goes, "What's that? Cadbury cream eggs?" And he runs over to get them. Right? He runs into the big factory to get the big collection of Cadbury cream eggs. We lock the door behind him, trap him in the building, set the building on fire.
Why not blow it up?
Either works. Either works. I said set it on fire because the slow, painful death seems to be the most appropriate way to deal with this fucking asshole because he has ruined our night. He has ruined our night. But blow him up, that works too. Either way, he's inside the factory. We blow it up. We set it on fire. He's dead. What's he going to do? I didn't know he could travel to different dimensions. So I would pick the Flash that can't just fuck off to a different dimension. But That was my favorite one. I thought trapping him inside a factory and then setting on fire, that's got to be the best way to kill him, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
true.
Is it? Corey, you're the judge here.
I mean, there's a lot to consider. I'll be completely honest with you. I knew there was more to the Flash's powers than just running really fast. I was overwhelmed when I looked down and I saw that we had been recording for 40 some minutes and we were still on Barry Allen.
Yeah.
I was so thrown off by that. Holy hell.
What?
But I will have to give it to you because I think I'm on the same boat. I was never a big... I read the Wally West series that just came out. That's why I was familiar with the Omega Bam Man. But I think I'm going to need to take a break from Flash and Flash adjacent comics after this episode.
But that
So
yeah, you have to say which method of death do you think? Because it's like concrete and Marge, the same deal. Like, what do we think here?
I mean, well, you brought Concrete back. Concrete came back a second time.
Did it?
Because you're gonna tie cinder blocks around his feet, throw him
I
off the
didn't
side
say
of the
cinder.
boat.
I said I tied rocks to his feet.
Oh, okay.
That could be like a big boulder. That could be like, I didn't specifically say cinder blocks.
That's true. So I will say that, Dylan, I think you have done an exceptional job. I think it could require a little more effort than we may think, but I am a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog methodology.
Yes, it makes it's time. You can't mess with the classics.
Nope.
It's in the Bible. It's right there.
Sega lasted for years off of that damn hedgehog. So
if you look at the Sonic the Hedgehog games, right, the most successful Sonic the Hedgehog games are the ones where Sonic fights Dr. Robotnik. The least successful are when he's fucking around with some other bullshit alien thing, right?
So John's suggestion was to travel with the Reverse Flash into the 616 Marvel universe and pick up Paste Pot Pete. Your suggestion is to hop into another dimension and take Dr. Robotnik.
No.
No.
Robot Monkey.
Yeah. that's such a crucial distinction to make.
Yeah, you just make your own Robot Monkey. If we're going by the Dr. Robotnik theme, all you have to do is just make a lot of robot animals and use smaller animals to power the big robot animals. And then also at the end of it, make a robot based on yourself and climb into it and fight Sonic the Hedgehog that way. Because that's hard. I don't know if you ever played Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but the end boss on that's really hard.
So I will say that you guys are getting so many points for creativity on this. I will award that to you because now I also want these Flashes to not be amongst the living any longer. This is my face hurts from fucking laughing as hard as I have been listening to this one. Oh my god!
I also just really quickly say I really like John's idea of it seems so simple, right? But the idea of a guy like the Trapster just putting glue on the floor. You know what I mean? Like the Flash runs so quickly, and then he just gets stuck in glue.
We have mentioned all of these 4 characters you can tap into the Speed Force. I do want to throw out some honorable mention characters. We're not going to go into any depth on them, but these are other people who are super fast in the DC universe that may or may not have a connection to the Speed Force.
Metal Sonic.
Well,
it runs just as fast as regular Sonic.
This is Dawn and Dawn Allen, the Tornado Twins. They are They are Barry Allen's children from the future.
Oh, they're both Dawn?
Dawn, D-O-N, and his sister, Dawn, D-A-W-N.
Oh, fuck
God.
Fuck off. I have... Dude, before this, I was ambivalent about the Flash. After this whole episode, I hate this character more than anybody else in comics.
I will tell you, these characters were invented in 1968 by Jim Shooter. So that's some of that kooky 60s stuff for you. Johnny Chambers, aka Johnny Quick. He was created in 1941.
Johnny Quick.
Johnny Quick.
How long were they sitting in that boardroom? Call this fucking guy.
And the villains have some fun names too, like Godspeed. Godspeed's a good name.
It's a great villain name.
Yeah, Godspeed's a great villain name. There's
Finally.
there's Negative Flash, Reverse Flash, Zoom, the Black
Zoom is
Flash.
A terrible name.
You don't like Zoom?
No. Zoom's terrible. Godspeed. I'm gonna write down.
Godspeed was a newer character. I think Godspeed showed up in New 52.
That's great.
So yeah, no, there's a lot of speedster characters. Some of them can touch the Speed Force, some of them can't. The ones who can seem dangerously overpowered. So we'll go around the table. John, what did you learn today about the Flash that you did not previously know? Don't take the easy answer.
I so was. You know, that he's ridiculously overpowered. He's got too many powers that have nothing to do with speed and are just, like there for convenience sake, by the sounds of it, just to get him out of different plots and whatnot. So, yeah. Fuck the Flash.
Yep.
Dylan, what did you learn today that you did not previously know about the Flash?
You know, I'm gonna have to agree with my co-host John in that. Holy shit! Fuck the Flash. Like this is clearly just the writers is making up bullshit. This is what I don't like about comics, but about any kind of medium. Like whenever you make anything, whether it's TV or music or films or comics, you kind of establish your own rules and you work with them, right? So like Superman has his own set of rules and you work with that. Batman has his own set of rules and you work with that. It seems like the Flash, they just were like every week they were like, oh, he's got sonar now. Yeah, of course the Flash can fly. He vibrates. He moves so fast that he vibrates the particles in the air to make himself fly. Why not? Right? I used to think that they got really egregious with Magneto. That stuff where they were just making shit up about Magneto. I'm like, he can just vibrate particles in your body, but this is so much worse. The thing I've learned about this is that I hate the Flash. This is the one thing I've learned is like, I'm with John. Fuck the Flash. That's what you call the episode. Not the semen thing. Fuck the Flash. You might have to edit that, like put stars in the word fuck, because YouTube are probably not gonna like the phrase fuck the Flash if you put that as a title. But
maybe.
But I'm with John. Like the one thing the two of us have learned is holy shit. What the fuck? That's what we've learned. All we've learned is what the fuck. Right? And I think the people who've listened to this as well, the one thing the people who've listened to this are gonna come away with saying is what the fuck?
Yeah, that was like I said when we were talking about like, oh, let's do another episode where we like, read about a character and their abilities and then like figure out a way to kill them. I was like, I guess we could do the Flash because I know for a fact there's more to the Flash than just super speed. But like that, I didn't even read the long descriptions associated with each power. Like each of Barry Allen's powers had like at minimum 5 to 6 sentences talking about them.
Ugh.
So like
crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you a lot of that did come from the Silver Age because that was like kooky science fiction shit that like was being written in the Flash comic back then. But yeah, there is they do a lot with just the notion of super speed. So like that's kind of like, it's kind of like when they announced, well, we're going to make an Aquaman movie. It's like, oh, he's the guy who talks to fish. Like, there's a little bit more to it than that. And they're like, oh, we're going to do a movie with the Flash. There's a little bit more to it than that, too. I will say the one thing that we did not talk about is that the Flash has, in fact, died with the release of the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video game, in which if you play the game, you do have to kill the Flash. So it sounds like none of us have played that game. So therefore, we do not know the definitive way to kill the Flash.
Oh, I do. Robot Monkey.
Robot Monkey. All right. Well, this entire episode took such a weird fucking turn. My face hurts from just laughing at all this shit. So I'm going to call it there, guys. I don't know if I can keep going.
That's fair enough. I think
So
we said all we can possibly say of it.
I think we've said all that
him.
we could possibly say. It's been a lot. So, folks, check us out. We are on social media. We're on YouTube. We got a simple name. It's a Smark Avengers. It's like smart, but with a K, because it's a wrestling thing. And if you want to know what that's about, I don't know, leave a comment and we'll talk to you about it sometime. But I'm Corey. That's Dylan, and that's Jon. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll talk about something hopefully less convoluted. Until then, bye-bye.
Goodbye. We're really sorry.
Bye.